What is the most controversial thing you own? A packaged stick from Afghanistan that claims to cure all known illnesses, including cancer, if you rub it on you. I traded an energy drink for it. I think it's pretty controversial since I now own the cure for all ailments. We're this far into the pandemic and you're only talking about it now? Whip that stick out. Yeah, let us rub your stick. 5 grams of uranium metal, stored under oil in a glass vial. Mortuary toe tags from an asylum in New York, like 20 or so of them. I think they could be the only things left showing that these people actually lived. That's pretty sad. It is, but when you think of it, most people who ever lived left no records of themselves. It's more usual to just fade out of existence as people forget you. A ceramic jar with cocaine written on it. My father is a contractor and he got it from a client who was descended from a relatively prominent US president. It was headed for the trash. My father didn't steal it, of course. It's probably a pharmaceutical jar for a dentist office from back in the day. Cocaine was commonly used as an anesthetic, and came in ceramic jars like that. It's not as fun an explanation as this prominent family using it for recreational purposes, but your post makes the most sense. My family owns a petrified walrus penis. My grandmother took it to get it identified at the Smithsonian several decades ago. Apparently her grandfather, or maybe it was her great-grandfather, brought it home after he spent several years on some type of expedition up around northern Alaska and points north. It has been loaned out to several museums at different times. The family has talked about selling it, but everyone has to agree, and so far there is no agreement about selling it. So I own 167th of a petrified walrus penis. I 67th, just the tip, I guess? 9-angle grinder from Harbor Freight. Jesus Christ. Do you have a good life insurance policy? Had a guy at work have the wheel come off of one and fly across his crotch. He said, "Thank God I've got a small dick." Coney 2012 kit. It's a whole thing and I don't want to talk about it. Lamau, what a time to be alive that was. I remember this being a thing, but I still have no idea what it was about. Edit, thanks to the many people who have told me to check out the Internet Historian's video on YouTube. But you can stop now. Somebody made a publicity campaign about stopping an African warlord with the branding of an American political campaign and tried to fundraise for it and made a big deal out of trying to get people involved. Not that fundraising defeats African warlords, and especially not by a random group of people with no relevant experience in African politics, but that was largely besides the point. The guy went crazy after like 3 days of success also and ended up running down the road naked. I now understand the South Park jacking it in San Diego reference. That episode was made around the time he had his breakdown. As a joke, I told my mom I wanted my dog's testicles in a jar after we had him neutered. She took it seriously and now I've had my dog's balls in a jar for almost a decade. Did you at least let him lick the jar every now and then for old time's sake? Now that I think about it, he does give them a certain look sometimes. My testicles, summer. Where are they? My great-grandpa was a medic in World War II and we own a little chest with his personal belongings, including his diary, some old bandages and 3 vials of 1940s morphine. A Nazi SS officer's dagger and a Hitler's youth ceremony bayonet. A friend gave them to me days before he died of cancer. They belonged to his dad. Edited, answer some questions. 1. My friend couldn't speak too well by the time he gave me these. I don't necessarily know why he decided to pick me. 2. I have been trying to decide what to do with them. Donating is an option I have considered. 3. In our many conversations he had mentioned Ukraine and Yugoslavia at times as having been places his parents traveled through. 4. Having met his dad once, very briefly, before he died in 2005, I can honestly say it wouldn't come as any sort of shock to me to find out he was a Nazi. He seemed pretty grisly and stern. I just never considered the idea until the knives were given to me 4 years ago. 5. Paolo had no other family that he knew of left by the time he passed. He never cared to try to find any either. 6. If I had to guess why he married a Pol and waited to move, was maybe she was a sympathizer and to avoid the rush to America. 7. He would have been too old to be Hitler Youth. I have my grandfather's Hitler Youth knife. He was 12 when the war ended, but he spent the last year or so of the war on a U-boat basically as an assistant. Edit, This comment blew up and I wanted to give some background. My grandfather was taken to a camp after the war ended for re-education and denazification. He was shown films of the concentration camps and other atrocities and quickly denounced Nazism. He met my grandmother in Germany and they immigrated to the US in the 1950s and raised a family. Once I reached adulthood I became kind of a history buff and began asking him about his experiences. He told me some stories and gave me the knife. I keep it now as a historical artifact that I have a direction to. How many people can say that, and as a reminder that good people can be made to do horrible things. He understood all too well that he was a victim on the Nazis and that he should do all he could to stop and prevent racism and authoritarianism in all its forms. Thank you all for the kind comments and not just jumping on me for admitting I have Nazi paraphernalia. We have Nazi binoculars. But we also have a German bunker behind our house. It happens when you live in a formerly occupied area. Norwegian here. My grandma had a small leisure cabin in the woods, as many Norwegians do, traditionally no electricity or running water or indoor plumbing. You burn wood and fetch water from the well and go to the outhouse. The kitchen there was equipped with a bunch of dinner plates and cups and so on, which were wartime German military issue, complete with swastika stamps on the bottom. Guess my grandparents got them dirt cheap in 1945. Going out of business sale. Not me, my parents growing up. They had an actual elephant foot turned into a table. Like an actual foot cut from an elephant and taxidermied made into an end table. Had a glass table top. You could feel the thin hairs on it. Duckin' haunted my dreams, man. Elephant foot furniture is more common than you think. A man trying to prove the Loch Ness Monster was real used his elephant foot umbrella vase to make footprints. A very, very large dildo. Like, unreasonably large. My friend had it sent to me as a joke on a random day for no reason at all. Spent $300 for the sake of a joke. I was like, bro, something is very wrong with you, lol. Edit. In the interest of not repeating myself a bunch more, it is a replica of the Moby Huge dildos owned by Charles White Moistker 1 Tickle Penguins 0. It is not an official Moby Huge from Adam Eve as they cost around $1,400, however, it is a to scale replica that my friend commissioned for me. It's semi-hollow and it's made of a much lighter material. It weighs around 30 pounds rather than 70 to 80. I'm not sure who or where he got it from because he wouldn't tell me at the time as he thought I'd do the same to him, but I'll ask again since it's been a while and tell him it's for Reddit. I will leave a link to a Twitter post showing two of them, one of which is next to a 5 feet 6 inches cutout. I'm away from home for a few days, but I'll do my best to keep the giant penis at the front of my mind so I can share a pic for you lovely folks when I'm back. Mobile.twitter.com. If friend isn't married, give it to the mother ducker as a wedding present. Like at the wedding, make sure everyone sees. I very much like the way you think. Well, it was that or the funeral. So I hope there hasn't been a wedding yet. My wedding ring, according to my mill. Made me chuckle. PSSST, hey mill, I'm doing your kid. K, thanks, bye. The day we told my in-laws that my wife was pregnant, her dad started sobbing, gave me one of the biggest hugs I've ever had and just kept sobbing, thank you, into my ear. 12 years later I still find it hilarious he thanked me for knocking up his daughter. Ha ha. When my parents married, my mother's dad walked her down the aisle, shook my dad's hand and said awkwardly thank you in the name of the family like he was so glad his daughter was finally someone else's problem. He was never good with words and just didn't know what else to say. So his panic solution was a very awkward, thank you, I guess. It's now a running gag in the family and my boyfriend wants to make it a tradition. An uncut DVD of Caligula. I am not sure if it is still banned or not. I was happy a certain character in this movie died, lol. It was made well, but it is not for everyone. I have an old Iraqi bill with Saddam Hussein's face on it. It's worth about 17 cents according to Google. People bought a bunch of Iraqi money after he was gone thinking it would be worth money one day. Don't think that worked out very well.